So this is the maiden voyage into podcast land, even though it's not the maiden voyage into podcast land because I've already recorded one and it was good shit and nobody's going to hear it because the high-tech software that I used to record it was not compatible with literally anything. But I guess here it is. This is I Can't Make This Up. I'm Chris, and what I'm going to try to do is give everybody more of an understanding as to the direction I'm going with this podcast before I actually get into making a weekly episode, if that makes sense. Um, I'm not going to talk about this coronavirus, this pandemic that's ruined literally every damn thing imaginable. It ruined Rockville. It's ruining sports. It's ruining live music. You can't even go to the movies or the bowling alley. All I want to say is to anybody listening, stay home, stay humble. I I'm taking it serious. My whole family's taking it serious. But do what you can to not be part of the problem, be part of the solution. But we're gonna get as far away from that as possible as we can. Um, Now, this something that this coronavirus has brought about are these music challenges on Facebook, and I don't know if you guys have seen any of them. There was one where it was um, name a band that starts with each letter of the alphabet that you've seen live. And I did it, and I think I got every single band except for like X, Z, and Q. And I can only think of two Q bands. Ooh, no, I've seen Queensryche. That would have been a Q. So it literally would have just been X and Z. Um, I can't even think of a band that starts with an X or a Z. I thought of one last time, and now I can't remember what the name is. But if you can think of a name of a band that starts with Z or an X, feel free to comment and let me know. But and then there was another one my little cousin Brendan actually put on there, and it was name 10 albums that get you or that you can play, the whole way through, not just one or two songs or skip around and then change it, but one that you can play the whole thing from start to finish without skipping anything, without shutting it off. And I want to do 10 albums, but I'm not going to do 10 all at once. I'll do like 3 here and 3 there and 3 there and then do my final one. But one of the albums that he had on his list was Alive or Just Breathing by Killswitch Engage. That would definitely make my top 10. Maybe not my number one if I was doing them in no specific order, but it definitely makes the top 10. It's a fantastic album. Adam D, the guitar player, actually produced it. They came into a different sound, a much more refined sound than the first album. It was the last album before the transition from Jesse to Howard, which most everybody knows the end of Heartache. Even if you don't know Killswitch Engage, chances are you know that song. Maybe not that album, you may not be familiar with, but you definitely know that song, Into Heartache. But Alive or Just Breathing, if you get a chance, check it out. Um, Another one would be White Pony by Deftones. To me, White Pony is the perfect album. You can literally put it in and hit play and let it play all the way through and never have to skip any of the songs. It's fantastically written. It's masterly produced. White Pony, Deftones, definitely on that list. And let's see, Colors by Between the Buried and Me, I'd have to say. Now, it's a little different. Between the Buried and Me it's prog, but it's heavy. It's heavier than Mastodon. It's definitely heavier than Rush, and I love Rush and I love Mastodon, but this is something different. It takes a venture into a different direction of prog metal. Some people call it math metal. It's just prog metal, guys. There's no reason to be too technical about it. It's definitely prog. But if you go and you buy this, that's another thing. Go buy the CD. You know, Back in the day, people my age, I would say anybody ages 30 to 45 or so, you remember we didn't have to buy full albums. You could buy singles. You could buy one song or two songs. It'd be like one song and a B-side of an album, and you didn't have to buy the whole album. And to me, when I think about it now, being a musician, you were being robbed because there's so much good shit on these albums, and you want the song that you hear on the radio or the song that your friend's playing. And I know that in this day and age of digital downloads and your iTunes and Apple Music and things like that, where you pick the songs that you want, um, the art of having a full album is slowly being lost. and it's super sad to watch that go. But do your part to be part of that solution and not part of that problem. If you're gonna download the damn thing, fucking buy it. Pay for that shit. That's how these guys make a living. That's how they support themselves, is by record sales, not by you illegally downloading one or two songs off the album. They didn't spend months and months and months of time, sometimes years, to write these albums for you to like one or two songs. So I guarantee you, more times than not, if you were to pick up the whole album, and I don't care what kind of music you listen to, it could be metal, it could be rock, it could be rap, it could be country or soul or jazz or whatever. Pick up the whole album. Go to the fucking record store. Go to the record store. Look, record stores don't just have CDs though. They have everything. If you're into Harry Potter, if you're into The Walking Dead, if you're into superheroes and things like that, whatever your flavor is, record stores have it. They have so much cool shit in these places. But go and buy the album, or if you're doing the digital download, download the album, but pay for it, please, for the love of God, just pay for it. And as a musician, and I'll plug my band in a little while, but as a musician, it's nice to get paid for what you're doing. That's not why we do it, don't get me wrong, but it is nice to be able to get paid to play music and to do something that people enjoy. Um, a lot of times on a personal level, I know me personally, there are songs that get me in my soul. Um, Be Quiet and Drive, Far Away by the Deftones. Definitely is one that hits me in my soul. When he says, I don't care where, just far, there's been times in my life where that line resonates louder than anything. And they were just bad times. On my Facebook it says, I don't care where, just far, but that's literally just a reference to the song. That's all. I actually have the song up there on my Facebook. That has nothing to do with how my life is actually going, because if I was gonna put it into words, I guess my life is actually pretty okay. I have an amazing girlfriend. She's so down. She's so down. But she's actually sitting right here next to me while I record this. Not a complaint. She's been telling me, you need to do it. You need to do it. You need to do your podcast. Do your podcast. And I didn't have anything else to do, so I said, well, let me go ahead and record another one to make up for the one that I lost in transition. But I still remember when the idea of the podcast came about, and she was like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. You should do it. You're so witty, and people would love, you're entertaining, and people would love to listen to you. So if you like what you hear, or if you don't like what you hear, go find her and tell her. She's the reason behind it. Especially if you don't like it, because I don't want to hear that shit. But back to what I was talking about. As far as music goes, just buy the full album. Uh, don't do this half-ass download shit. Go out and support local live musicians, because that's where everybody started. Your Metallicas and your Megadeths and all these, bands that you think of as being huge, they all started in dive bars or little places. I mean, Metallica was playing in San Francisco on little strip bars for $13 a night, enough to buy a pack of bologna to feed 5 guys or 4 guys. It has to start somewhere. So just because a band isn't on a major label, or just because a band isn't a big deal or has a multi-million-dollar record contract, doesn't mean they're not good bands. There are so many good bands, and especially in the Valdosta area, there's so much talent. Anywhere you go, on any given night, you can find a good band. You just have to have your ears open, keep your mind open to it. Don't be like, oh, it's just a local band, I'm not gonna like this shit. No, you probably are really gonna like it, because these guys are putting they have nothing to lose, and they're putting everything they have on the line and everything they have into this music, pouring their soul out to you. Um, Sometime later on, I actually want to do a whole podcast just dedicated to local music, where I'll get you guys to send me Reverb Nation links or Facebook links or YouTube links or whatever. I mean, you can even send me where I can get whole albums, and I will review whole albums by local bands. They don't have to be local to Valdosta, even though that's where we're at. And they don't have to be local to Georgia, just, local to the region or local to the country. Just bands that haven't made it to the next level or who are transitioning to the next level. It doesn't matter. Just anything you think that I would want to hear, send me a link, post it, send me a message, post a link on the comments, whatever you want to do. But get out there and support local music. I play music locally. You can check my band out on Facebook at Save the Empire Official. We've got pictures and we've got videos. Um, we just had a lineup change. We got a new guitar player, Mr. Casey Jones. Shout out to Casey if he's listening. Casey's been playing music for a really long time, as all of us have. It's me, Omar Susani, John Lauren Beverly, and Richard Elmore. Probably the most talented group of guys I've ever encountered and had the chance to play music with. But Casey, being the most recent addition, he's made it to the big stage. He played some country, and now we got him playing rock music. But he was playing with the Soulshine Band for a long time out of Fitzgerald. Shout out to Soulshine, Bam, and J. Joe and John Boy. Um, but we're glad to have Casey aboard, and I really look forward to what's to come this following year. If we could ever get over this damn virus, we had a gig tonight. As a matter of fact, tonight was supposed to be Casey's first show, and it got canceled. But that's okay. That's okay. We've got other ones booked. So if you go follow us on Facebook at Save the Empire Official, you keep track of all the dates we have booked. We were playing with another band, company of super talented group of guys out of Lake City. Chris Hogan, our guitar player Richard is actually in that band. Richard Hunt and Zach is a great band. If you ever get a chance, you can go follow them on Facebook too at company of. Super good group of guys when it comes down to it, but a great band. Classic rock, southern rock. If that's your thing, they definitely got you covered. But we could go on forever about music, and I don't really want to. I kind of want to touch base on some other things. More about the premise of this podcast. I want to do a couple of things a little different. I'm actually helping my girlfriend raise two kids right now. Landon, who's 16, and Jace, who's 6. And that age gap is odd because you've got one, he's 16, he's super self-sufficient, he does pretty much whatever he needs to do, takes care of his little brother, helps me and his mom out. He's a great kid. And then you've got Jace, who's 6, and I don't know if any of you, I'm sure you have, but anybody who's ever raised a small child until they're about the age of 8, when they really start to get more of a personality, it's like having a best friend who is on a caffeine rush all the time. he's got 2 speeds, wide open and dead asleep. That's it. There's no in between, but he's a great kid. And with that being said, I'm actually looking to bring him on the podcast, and I'm going to interview him, and I'm not going to ask him questions that you ask a 6-year-old. I'm going to ask him questions that you ask a fucking 30-year-old. Because I want to give him real world questions just to see what his mind comes up with, because the things that come out of this kid's mouth on a daily basis, he could have his own podcast. He could have his own YouTube channel. He could do a lot of things, and he's only 6. One of the first interactions I ever had with him when Nikki and I first started dating, he's 5 years old now at this time, and we're in the swimming pool, we're swimming around, and Nikki comes outside, and she says, Jace, I've got to put sunscreen on you so you don't get burnt up. And he's like, Mom, I don't want it, and he does the typical 5-year-old thing where he whines a little bit, but, Mom always wins, so she puts the sunscreen on him, and he swims back over to me, and she walks in the house, and he goes, Chris, can you help me for a second and get this stuff off my face? Because she come out here and she put it on me, and that's not the way I intended this to go down. I had to stop for a second because of how this 5-year-old just talked to me. But I think you guys will be super entertained by him. I want to bring Landon on here and just talk to him. I'm not going to interview him. I'm just going to pick something that something that he's good on, and just have a conversation with him for about an hour about whatever the topic is. And like, he's a super smart kid. He's a bit of a nerd. That's okay. He likes video games and techie things, and that's cool. And that may be what we end up talking about when he comes out here, is video games and stuff. Because he and I, raising a 16-year-old is like having a friend who's into all the cool shit you're into all the time. Like the stuff that your girlfriend's not into, because she's into cool stuff. She's sitting here. I'm not saying that because she's sitting here. I'm saying that because it's true. She's definitely into a lot of cool shit. Um, our love for Deftones is the same, but Landon and I play video games together, and that's a big damn deal. So I'll probably have Landon on here, and we'll talk to him about video games and stuff. But I guess we can kind of talk about this coronavirus a little bit because there's something that I hold near my heart, and that's the tattoo community around here. These guys are all out of work right now, and it's sad. Shout out to Tony B and Casso and Renee and Angie and Harley and Corey and who else am I? I'm forgetting something. Marcus just joined, and Rebecca. Shout out to Tito Zambrano, the Ink Master himself, Samson Bennett. Shout out to Kevin, Big Papa Kevin Tyson at Hollywoods. Guys, when all this shit clears up, for any of your tattoo needs, please go see the guys at Hollywoods. They're fantastic. They've got a shop. They've got 3 locations. They've got one on Patterson Street, a brand new one on Bemis next to Fisherman's Paradise, and then they have H3 and Adel. Any shop, you can't go wrong with anybody in it. Kevin's been doing this a long time. He breathes monsters. I worked for Kevin for 12 years probably. I don't necessarily consider myself a super talented tattoo artist, but I know where I was and where I was when I ended. So Kevin, if you're listening, thanks for that, man. But these guys are all out of work. Tony B and Renee have a little boy, and they just had a little girl a couple months ago, as a matter of fact. So congratulations to you guys. But there are households where the main source of income are these guys, are these tattoo artists. So with all this downtime, there's no income coming in. So reach out to them. Look these guys up. Look at their work. Commission a painting from them. Get them to draw a picture of your kid or your dog. I mean, it's not just tattooing. They're capable of so much more. You just have to dig in and find it. So while all these businesses are under, support local business, but support all your self-employed friends. That's the biggest. That's a big thing. Cosmetologists and hairdressers, and I've got friends that do vinyl and stuff, and I'm not sure if they're working now or not, but I would doubt it. But reach out to these guys, see what else they offer. It may not just be in the way of what you think it is, but you could definitely do some good if we all came together and you supported these self-employed people. Um, Another thing, I want to do a podcast about professional wrestling. I'm a huge wrestling buff. There is a wrestling company. You can check them out on Facebook at Spinebuster Championship Wrestling. It's an amazing company, headed up by some amazing people, fantastic athletes. The shows never cease to amaze me. I actually had the honor of working real, like close, like in the company for a number of years, and I just recently left, and I hope to maybe go back to it one day. Um, Preston Paradise, the bad guy, Miss Caitlin, Miss 100%. They run a type shit, but they run a great company. They've got this GM, Johnny Maverick or something or another. I don't know. We're not gonna waste time talking about him, but if you're into indie wrestling, if you're into wrestling in general, just check these guys out. They've got stuff on YouTube. You can look up Spinebuster Championship Wrestling and watch the full matches. They actually had an event for this month, April Aftermath, and it got canceled because of this fucking virus. It seems like this virus is doing nothing. It's it's rolling around to a point where it's not just um, inconveniencing people, but it's starting to piss people off. It pisses me off because so much of my life has been put on hold for something that I really don't have anything to do with. And but there's so many other people who are in worse shape than I am, worse shape than we are for this virus. So just look out for your neighbor. But check out Spinebuster Championship Wrestling. Like I said, an amazing company, a great group of athletes. They bring guys in from all over the southeast. It's amazing. It's a super good family entertainment. And when all this virus mess goes away, hopefully they'll be up running, and you get a chance to check out one of their shows. They usually run them at Mathis Auditorium. I believe so. That's what they're going to continue to do. but Spinebuster Championship Wrestling, check those guys out. Um, brings me to this. I would love to interview somebody from Spinebuster. I don't care if it's a referee. I would love to interview one of the wrestlers. I would love to do a whole podcast where I just interviewed somebody and talked wrestling shop with them. I think it would be great because I've done it before. I did a podcast once upon a time, and we actually brought Hold My Beer Hansen in here. Hold My Beer Hansen, shout out to that guy. He's probably listening because that's one of the coolest dudes around.
Yes.
He definitely takes time to stop, and he will take in anything anybody around him is doing. He will take it in. Yeah, that's my 6-year-old's favorite. He'll hold my beer. He'll chant it in the house.
He came out there and made sure he talked to him and made him feel comfortable. I love that about him.
Oh yeah. Hanson got hurt pretty good one night at a show, and my 6-year-old was pretty traumatized. But Hanson came out and let him know, hey, I'm okay, buddy. But if there's anybody, it doesn't necessarily have to be a wrestler. It could be a band. I'll interview a whole band. Somebody in the community. It could be a wrestler, but if there's anybody you guys would like to hear me interview in this kind of format, please, by all means, leave me a comment. Let me know how I can get in touch with them. I'll be glad to review everything. Ultimately, it's my decision, but you guys have a little bit of a place in the decision making process, I'd like to say. But shoot me a link to their Facebook. If it's a band, shoot me their link to Reverb Nation or whatever. I'd love to get other people in here and just kind of that way it's not, you don't just have to listen to my voice and it doesn't just become the random ramblings of a middle-aged man. It actually has substance to it. I'm actually going to bring my girlfriend Nikki in here once or twice. There's a couple of things I want to talk to just her about. So yeah, I want it to be a different kind of podcast. I don't want it to be the stereotypical podcast. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of me talking about what I want, and it's going to be way more structured. It's not, I got a piece of paper in front of me that has bullet points of things that I want to hit. But that was just to kind of give you guys an idea of what I want to do. But since everybody is in quarantine, I want to bring this up. If you have Netflix, please do me a favor and fucking watch The Tiger King. Please watch The Tiger King. It is a 7-hour...
7-hour wasted of our lives.
No way. It's a 7-hour train wreck. Now, you gotta feel bad for the guy, though. I kind of do, because he really did love those tigers. I mean, he's just a good old all-American homosexual, gun-toting, meth-smoking, tiger-loving son of a bitch. That's Joe Exotic, and now he's in prison.
For a long time.
Because of that bitch Carol Baskin. Last time we did this podcast, I wanted you to look at what her last name was.
My phone was dead.
And it's okay. Carol Baskin, that bitch. But please, do yourself a favor. Watch The Tiger King. It will make you feel some kind of way.
Or at least you'll be up to date with everybody else that's watched it.
Right. I guarantee you guys have seen the memes. Once you watch it, it'll make sense and they'll be hilarious like they are to me, because I think they're so funny that I share all of them. My buddy Hood Pope, shout out to Hood Pope, the man, the myth, the legend.
He's gone crazy with it.
He's gone absolutely mental with this Tiger King shit. He went so far as to take the characters from the show and start posting side-by-side comparison pictures of people, his friends in real life, talking about sorry about this and sorry about that. He's a nut job. That dude takes amazing pictures. So if you do need photographs taken, hit up my boy Brent Hudgens, B. Hudgens Photography. He does an amazing job, and he's not going to rob you. So with that being said, just watch Tiger King. You'll thank me, I promise. Or if you're not into meth and tigers and gay gun toting Americans, if you have Amazon Prime, watch the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. I got Nikki to watch that this afternoon. I had seen it before, but this one's actually kind of good. It's a documentary about a family in West Virginia who has a deep-rooted history as far as, I think it's tap dancing goes. They're Appalachian Mountain people. But Hank the Third's on there, and I love Hank the Third. But definitely check at least one of those two, while you're quarantined, one of those two things out. You won't be disappointed. The Tiger King, that's not going to be for everybody, but it should be because it's hilarious. Um, but the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia, yeah, we watched that one today, and it's pretty good, isn't it, Nikki Lou?
It was. It was different. But it was. It definitely kept my attention.
And you've got to have things like this while you're quarantined because you'll go crazy just sitting in the house doing nothing. There's all kinds of things. I understand, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, this Disney Plus. There's a lot of that stuff out there, different options for you. But personally, those are the ones that I would suggest you do watch while you're quarantined. Um, so sports has been canceled again because of this damn virus. There's no baseball going on right now. Sports can be a sore subject in our house, can it, Nikki? Especially when we talk about fantasy football.
What do you want me to say?
Yeah, I don't want you to say anything. I want you to sit there and shut up. Okay, you don't have to shut up. I'm sorry. Listen, I played fantasy football last year with a group of guys. It's a $50 buy-in.
Well, wait a minute, because he has a girlfriend that loves football just as much as he does.
I do have a girlfriend, and that's why I trusted her so much. But this, fellas, I'm going to teach you a lesson. Just because you love her, just because she's beautiful, doesn't mean she always has the right answer. She doesn't. I played in a $500 league, fantasy football. Never played with these guys before. Had a fantastic year, didn't I?
Yeah,
Because of Dak Prescott.
Because of the Cowboys, yes.
That's Nikki's team is the Cowboys, and she told me that I should start Dak Prescott. And I stood behind that. I said, I'll start Dak Prescott.
But you started him a lot.
And I started him a lot, and he did great, and he kept me in it. And the end of the year, I get to the championship game, and it's between Dak Prescott and Ryan Fitzpatrick. And anybody who knows pro football last year knows that Ryan Fitzpatrick showed his natural-born ass for the last 4 games of the season. But guess what happened? Somebody told me that it would be a better idea to start Dak Prescott, who shit the bed. Shit the bed. I was looking for answers. Dak fucking Prescott was not the answer, Nikki. I should have started Fitzpatrick, but that's why sports in general can become.
Thank God we're still together because that would have been a deal breaker.
I was so hurt. I just wanted to win my fantasy football.
I was in the doghouse for a couple weeks, guys. Like it sucked.
But sports, I know sports in the South in general are a big deal, and I have friends who are of every sport, every college football denomination. I've got friends who are Georgia fans. I've got friends who are Florida fans. I've got friends who are fans of Tech. I've got friends who are fans of Auburn and Clemson and Alabama. I'm not real close with those friends, but I'm a Notre Dame guy, and that's okay because I don't know any other Notre Dame fans. But I'm also a Cubs fan, and I'm also a Colts fan. So there's nothing that you can say to me to bash my team that I haven't already heard. But that's okay because my baseball team won a World Series, since any of us have been relevant. In the last 107, 108, 109 years, they've won one. I'll take that one World Series. Notre Dame made it to the playoffs. They probably didn't belong. Ooh, they don't even belong. Well, guess what? They did better against Clemson than Alabama did. And I will take that to the grave with me as my proud crowning moment. But guys, really, this podcast is going to be, a lot of it's going to be about you. What you want me to talk about, what you want to hear, who you want me to interview, things like that. It's also going to be a lot of open forum stuff because I have things that I want to talk about, and I might do some Facebook Live stuff. It won't be a video of me. It'll probably be a video of the sky because I don't want attention brought on to watching me talk so much as actually listening to me talk. I feel like you take things in better if you're not distracted by anything else, no imagery, no nothing like that. But guys, I want to thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart for listening to this. I hope to continue to do this. I will probably have another one up as long as this one works this time. I will probably put another one up in the next week or so with an actual topic. It'll be way more structured. I know that this one probably was hard to follow, but I wanted to give you motherfuckers just an insight to what I want to do, and then hit a couple of little topics here and there. But until next time, guys, this has been I Can't Make This Up. Peace.